The wind howled like a hungry wolf, tearing at the flimsy tent. Rain lashed down, each drop a tiny hammer blow against the taut canvas. Inside, huddled in a sleeping bag that offered little warmth, Elias trembled. Not from the cold, but from a fear so profound it stole his breath, was alone, utterly and completely. Hours ago, the hiking group had been together, laughing, sharing stories, their headlamps bobbing like fireflies in the twilight. Then, the storm had descended with terrifying speed, scattering them like leaves in a gale. Elias, always a little behind, had lost sight of the others in the blinding rain. Now, lost and with night falling, panic clawed at his throat. He imagined the worst.
Wild animal. Fallen off a cliff. Freezing to death.
Each scenario painted in vivid, horrifying detail by his frantic mind. He squeezed his eyes shut, but the images wouldn't go away. He curled tighter, wishing, praying for rescue, for the storm to end, for anything other than this terrifying solitude. Suddenly, a voice, seemingly from the wind itself, whispered, "Elias." He gasped, his eyes flying open. The tent flap rippled, and for a moment, he thought he saw a figure standing there, backlit by a faint, ethereal glow. But then it was gone, and only the storm remained. "Elias," the voice came again, softer this time, yet somehow clearer, resonating not in his ears, but deep within his chest. "Be still." He wasn't sure if it was a hallucination, a trick of the wind, or something else entirely. But the voice had a strange calming effect. It was firm yet gentle, like a hand on his fevered brow. "You are where you need to be," the voice continued. "Not lost, but held. Not abandoned, but safe." Elias wanted to argue. He wanted to scream that he was terrified, that he wanted to be anywhere but here, in this cold, wet, lonely place. But the voice wouldn't let him. It wrapped around him like a warm blanket, silencing his fear, slowing his racing heart. "This storm," the voice said, "is not your enemy. It is a teacher. It is showing you your own strength, your own resilience.
You are stronger than you know, Elias.
Breathe. Be still. You are where you need to be." And slowly, haltingly, Elias began to breathe. Deep, shuddering breaths at first, then more even, more rhythmic. He focused on the feeling of the air filling his lungs, on the steady rise and fall of his chest. He listened to the rain not as a threat, but as a lullaby that he realized, with a growing sense of wonder, that the voice was right. He was cold and wet, and alone, but he was alive. He had survived the worst of the storm. He had found shelter, however meager. And within himself, he had found a strength he never knew he possessed. The fear didn't vanish entirely, but it receded, replaced by a fragile sense of peace. He was still in the storm, but the storm was also within him, and he was learning to navigate both. Hours later, as the first rays of dawn pierced the tattered clouds, the rescue party found him. He was weak and shivering, but he was alive. And as they led him back to safety, he carried with him not just the memory of the storm, but the echo of the voice, and the quiet certainty that, even in the darkest of times, he was indeed where he needed to be. That night, as he lay in a warm bed, surrounded by his friends, Elias knew he would never forget the storm. It had been the toughest night of his life, a trial by wind and rain and fear. Yet, he had endured. He had found a strength he never knew he had, a resilience that would stay with him always. The storm had stripped him bare, but in doing so, it had revealed the unwavering core within. He had gotten through, and he was forever changed.